Who's the stupidest person you've ever met? And what story perfectly sums up their stupidity? Back in high school, I had a friend named Marcus. We'd known each other since middle school and stayed close mostly because we lived down the street from each other and had the same kind of humor. He wasn't dumb in the traditional sense. He could pass his classes if he tried, and he was decent at math, but his decision-making skills were on another planet. He had this unique ability to react to stress in the worst possible way imaginable, and one night cemented that forever. It was a Friday night, and someone from our chemistry class was throwing a party. I didn't have my license yet, so Marcus offered to drive. He picked me up around 8:30 in his mom's busted old Honda Civic that smelled like mountain and cheap cologne. We drove across town, music blasting, windows down, yelled along to some awful early 2000s rap. The party itself wasn't anything special. Someone's parents were gone and they had snacks, music, and a few warm beers. I stayed mostly sober because I had a feeling Marcus was going to be Marcus. He had a few drinks, but nothing heavy. Around midnight, we dipped out, heading back toward our side of town. It was dark, maybe a little foggy, and Marcus was driving a few miles over the limit. Not crazy, but enough to get the attention of the local sheriff, who happened to be parked behind a billboard. Blue and red lights came on, and Marcus cursed and pulled over immediately. Now, this was my first time being in a car that got pulled over. I panicked just a little, trying to think of what to do. I remembered reading online or hearing from someone that if you're a passenger and you pretend to be asleep, cops are less likely to ask you questions. It made no real sense, but I was 16 and nervous, so I leaned my head against the window, shut my eyes, and tried to look peaceful. I heard the door of the cop car open, heavy boots crunching gravel, the flashlight beam cutting through the windshield, then silence, long silent, weirdly long. I expected to hear Marcus hand over his license or at least say, "Evening, officer," or something, but nothing. No voices, no movement, just the sound of night and the distant hum of traffic on the highway. After about 30 seconds, I peeked. I tilted my head just a little, barely opened one eye, and what I saw nearly made me laugh out loud even in the moment. Marcus was pretending to be asleep too. Driver's seat, engine still running, seatbelt on, hands limp in his lap, chin on his chest, eyes shut tight, mouth slightly open like he was snoring. Like if he was really committed to the bit. The cop was standing just outside the driver's side window with the flashlight held up, clearly confused. I saw the beam move back and forth a couple times, probably checking if we were having a stroke or if this was some new kind of prank. Then he knocked on the window. Marcus didn't move. Knocked again, louder. Marcus still didn't move. I sat up and tried to salvage the situation. I rolled down my window and called out, "Sorry, officer. He's just really tired. I'll wake him." The cop didn't say a word, just looked at me like he was doing long division in his head. Then he walked to my side, leaned in and asked, "Is he under the influence?" I said no. I wasn't lying exactly. Marcus wasn't drunk, just stupid. I reached over and shook him. He jumped up like he'd just been tased, wide-eyed, blinking like he didn't know where he was. "Oh, sorry, officer. I must have dozed off while being pulled over for speeding," with the light still flashing behind us. The officer didn't even address the sleep act. He just asked for license and registration, then walked back to his car, probably to laugh with his partner about how two teenagers tried to vanish via sleep. We didn't get a ticket, just a warning and a very long lecture about responsibility and how he could tow the car and call our parents if he wanted to. Marcus nodded solemnly the whole time like he'd learned something. On the way home, I said, "Why did you pretend to be asleep too?" He looked at me like I was the dumb one. I thought it would work better if we were both doing it. I didn't say anything after that. I just looked out the window and thought about how it was a miracle we'd made it through high school at all. To this day, whenever someone asks me about the dumbest person I've met, I just tell them that story. There's no follow-up needed.